Good day. The first section of the online toolkit is the absolute must-need-to-know information to get into MyCourses, so you can give information to and get information from your students right away. And to get to MyCourses, one goes to the Blue Ridge site, you go to where it says Students, and then you'll see there's a MyCourses link. That will take you to MyCourses. You will log in, and after logging in, you will go to basically what is called a course page where you'll see your courses. On the MyCourses page, as you're probably aware, the right-hand side has deadlines that you have set up for other courses in chronological order, and then grading, also information that you have set up that you would need to grade, and then down here messages that one would have gotten from their students. Now let's go to the specific course that we're setting up. And this is the course that would be a shell that is just barely populated. And you can tell that this is set up for a class on England, Foundations of English Literature. And do note to alter the information at the topic head or at the top of this page, you'll click Edit Summary of this topic, and you can change both the image there and also the verbiage you see. This is the initial home page where students will go, and it has course announcements and some other basics that are already built into the shell. And you can go through and add your resources and stuff to this page. I'll show you how in the coming tutorials, also very rapidly. And then Getting Started is also built into your shell, and it gives you some details of what they would like you to do here. And the syllabus confirmation quiz, you can delete the solo confirmation quiz if you're partway into a semester, unless you feel it will benefit the students learning how to use the online tool more thoroughly during the middle of the semester. Now, I have just guessed, and I don't know this to be true at all, but I've just put my chapters on this side in chronological order week by week, so it's very easy for the students to follow. Now, this, of course, is just by no means even a guess. It's just a demonstration of what can be done there. But I can put in topics on this side, and then what I can do is set up materials accordingly in there. To add a topic, you just go to the base of this and you click Add a New Topic. And then you would put in what it's called in the title. You don't even have to add information right here at this point, and that will give you a new topic. Since I already have one though, I'll just cancel out of this and proceed. While these initial assignments and information you can put in here are self-evident, I'm going to scoot right in to creating information for my students and setting up some interactions. So I'm going to go on to the first chapter beyond these, and this is week 7. Let's pretend this is the first week I'm starting. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add some activities or resources. All right, if you can just like drag a PDF here and it will populate this page. I think it is sometimes better to use this tool instead. If you click in there, you can add activities or resources. Activities are interactions the students do, and resources are just things you're handing out. Book does not reference your textbook, so I wouldn't recommend using this. It's another sort of mini application for sharing information. File is a fashion for putting in PDF or documents if you would do that. I wouldn't recommend putting in a folder full of information. A label is merely a heading that you can put in at the top, and these will populate from the bottom up as you move forward. And then page is just a drop down. And so you know what the page resource looks like. If students get that, if they can just click this icon, and then it will have information, and then they can close it. So it's certainly a drop down with information. However, it can have other kinds of information where it'll give you a drop down here, and it has a descriptor, and then below that is a YouTube clip that if one clicks that, they would then see the video clip that's put on there. And the URL allows a faculty member to put in the hyperlink that will open up in a new tab. So let me go back to activities, and there are several that I'm going to have you learn here, and by several I mean 4. So I will be showing you a little later assignments, how to make an assignment, and then gather papers through this tool back to the instructor. And not forums, but open forums. I'll have you use that if you'd like to create a discussion where students can interact with you and their fellow students. Then it's important to know how to create a quiz, and this is not as straightforward as one would think, so there will be a couple of steps involved in that. I'll show you the quickest fashion within this toolkit, and there's a longer tutorial that you can access if you prefer to. And then Collaborate is an incredible tool, and it allows you to set up times where everyone can log in and see you while you essentially lecture or interact with the class. It can be long or short form, and if you need lecture, if lecture is what the students are anticipating and they have signed up for a certain period of time a day, then you can use Collaborate. You will need a web camera, and students will also need to be able to access this remotely. So you would have to find out from your students in advance if this is going to work, but for those who have a lecture-based class, Collaborate may be your best friend. With that said, let's take a look at the balance of this real quickly. So I'll skip ahead to a chapter or a topic, these are chapters or topics, called either one, that already has some material in it. These need to be organized in the fashion that you would like the students to use them. However, sometimes you'll upload them not in that sequence. So after they get in here, you need to move them around a bit. So say geography is what we would like to have at the top of this. In order to move that, this first tool gives one the option of moving them to these different locations. So say I want to move this to the top of the graded activities, I will click move here. And there it is. So that move tool is important. Secondly, if you need to get back in and change some of the edits that we're going to learn here in a bit, you click this guy and it lets you walk back in to edit the material. And then I can exit back out of this. If I make changes, I'll hit save and return to course, or I can just cancel out of this as I'm in this case. And then thirdly, what you need to see on these is this little ellipsis, sideways ellipsis, will give you the option of deleting what you've done or hiding it from the students to show later. Beyond that, you shouldn't have to worry about any of these features. So MyCourses allows one to give assignments, to collect assignments, to grade them, to give quizzes, and to communicate with the students, and to also communicate with video. And that's what the tutorials will show you in the next steps. Thanks so much.